Pan-African Seed Venture Capital Fund, P1 Ventures, has completed the first close of its new $50 million fund to invest exclusively in exceptional African founders and companies building transformational software businesses. Hisham Ahalbuni, general partner at P1 Ventures, spoke to CNBC Africa's Julius Bizimungu.
We believe that Africa is leapfrogging many traditional trajectories where businesses used to grow. So, and we've seen this with M-Pesa out of Kenya specifically, right? It leapfrogged the entire banking and financial infrastructure with mobile payments. And we believe that Africa is one of the few places that offers that leapfrog opportunities. We believe that, for example, AI is the next leapfrog opportunity for the continent as a whole. And we see this across other sectors as well, with, for example, software. And we've seen companies building and scaling software locally and then started to expand and export the software globally as well. So SaaS and SaaS-powered AI, we believe, is a big trend that is going to propel the African continent and the African ecosystem into the future.
Right. Hisham, how is the new fund, the $50 million fund, structured, and how are you looking to deploy your capital? Are you looking to, invest, for instance, in terms of equity, debt? Give us details about that.
No, absolutely. It's a great question. The fund's strategy is to invest. So first of all, we want to back the strongest founders. And we found the strongest founders build the strongest teams, and they are diverse teams. And I think this is very important, that are trying to solve real problems. Africa is filled of problems that people struggle to get their basic needs and access and distribution. And the third thing is founders that are building products that are 10 times better than the alternative, which in some cases there's no alternative. So these are the main criteria where we look to invest. And when we write checks, we write equity checks. So we are equity investors. We are long-term believers in the businesses, and we partner with those founders for the long term. The way we structure the fund, and we don't necessarily we don't believe that writing many checks from a fund makes a lot of economic sense. The strategy is actually to invest more in a more concentrated portfolio, so still diversified for a seed fund. So from this fund, we'll invest maybe in 20 companies. And this allows us to better allocate time to the founders and support them in their growth trajectory and expand through our network and become as helpful as we can to the founders. So it's not a large pool of companies. And at the same time, we build ownership and equity early on, and we defend this ownership for as long as possible in the winners. And this, we believe, will give the highest return to our shareholders, our investors, and will give the highest amount of input for our portfolio companies.
Just the last question. When I look at the list of the companies and the sectors you invest in, you're looking at fintech, you talked about things like AI and so on. When you look at the first round of the fund, the first fund that you closed, and you look at the companies you invested in and the sectors you invested in, what are the sectors that you see huge potential that Africa could leverage and invest in more?
I think, again, fintech has always been a big pain point because most of the continent is unbanked or underbanked. So depending, and again, Africa is not one country, it's multiple countries, right? So I think you'll find advanced fintech solutions in more advanced countries that have invested in the basic infrastructure, and fintech solutions coming out of countries that are catching up. So Francophone Africa versus Nigeria, for example, or Kenya. So fintech remains to be a core part of what we do. The second part is software as a service. So SaaS solutions, we're seeing a lot of exciting potential here to further optimize, streamline the businesses. And specifically when you add the AI layer on top of it, I think this becomes a significant rather than just a marginal value add for the companies. And this will cut across all industries. The third thing we are excited about and continue to be excited about is insurtech. 1% of the population in Africa is insured, which is a shocking number when you exclude South Africa. So we think insurance and insurtech is a very promising sector, and we continue to identify opportunities there. E-commerce is also fairly new when you look at the relative size of penetration to the total amount of commerce that happens. So e-commerce remains to be one of the key sectors we look to invest in.